Hey everyone, my name is Josh and welcome back to your fourth stimulus package and news update. We have a lot of news to get into in today's video, but first, if you would like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $2,300, make sure to claim them by clicking my link, which you will find in the description box below. Okay, so with the House finally passing the bipartisan infrastructure bill through their chamber on Friday, after progressive Democrats held it up for nearly 3 months, members of Congress get to enjoy a full week of recess. After this week of recess, progressive Democrats were promised that next week, starting on the 22nd, they would be voting on the Build Back Better plan. Last night, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wrote another one of her Dear Colleagues letters, this one stating, Dear Democratic colleagues, on Friday, Congress took a giant step towards enacting the most transformative, yes, transformative agenda in our country's history with the passing of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Framework. Under the leadership of Chair Peter DeFazio's good-paying jobs are on the way to rebuild America, including roads, bridges, mass transit, water systems, and broadband. But to build back better, we must do more to address the climate crisis, promote equity, and ensure that everyone has the opportunity to work. Passing the rule on the Build Back Better Act gives us a running start on passing more of the president's agenda. Thanks to President Biden's leadership and the thoughtful participation of so many House Democrats, we are on our way. As we say, our diversity is our strength, our unity is our power. In order for Democrats to deliver for the people, we must, as John Lewis said, keep our eyes on the prize. As have been agreed, when the House comes back to session the week of November 15th, we will act with a message that is clear and unified to produce results. It is a source of great pride to behold the values, knowledge, and courage of the House Democrats. Thank you for demonstrating that Democrats deliver for the people. So yes, as you can see, Pelosi is once again confirming the vote on the reconciliation package will happen at some point next week. But like everything else, there are some things that will need to come first. For example, the vote depends a lot on the CBO score pairing up with the current predictions. If, say, the Congressional Budget Office comes up with a different number for the amount of new taxes collected than what the White House came up with, there could be troubles. Also, right now, we are assuming that the CBO will be able to complete their analysis by the end of next week, which it's entirely possible that they won't. Perhaps they won't be able to release all their data until after Thanksgiving. If that's the case, moderate Democrats may not move forward with the vote on the bill. The co-chairman of the Problem Solvers Caucus, Josh Geitheimer, happens to be one of the centrist Democrats wary of the CBO score, matching up with estimates from the White House. In a joint statement, the group said, "We commit to voting for the Build Back Better Act in its current form other than technical changes as quickly as we receive fiscal information from the Congressional Budget Office. But in no event later than the week of November 15th. We are committed to working to resolve any discrepancies in order to pass the bill if the CBO assessment differs from other estimates issued this week." So, as you can see, even though he seems committed to passing the reconciliation bill, he doesn't really lay out a clear timeline if estimates are not matching up. Josh Geitheimer also joined CNN's State of the Union yesterday, where he talked about both the infrastructure bill as well as the Build Back Better plan moving forward. First, he talks a little bit about how the infrastructure bill played out and how they were able to get that piece of legislation past the finish line.
Well, first, thank you so much for having me. And obviously, this is a big win this week for the country and obviously the people I represent in Jersey in terms of investing in the infrastructure. The Secretary was just talking about our roads, our bridges, our rail, getting the Gateway Tunnel between New York and New Jersey built, our water and broadband. So much, and it was bipartisan, Democrats and Republicans coming together. And the president, well, I must say, there was lots of back and forth, of course, between some of my colleagues to get this across the finish line. The president really helped, working with both sides, trying to bridge some of the divide. Well, making suggestions, part of what we were doing down toward the end is making it clear the information that we needed to move forward on the Build Back Better reconciliation plan. And when we come back in a couple weeks, I'm optimistic we'll have that information from the Congressional Budget Office that will be consistent with the expectations that we receive from the data in the White House and the Treasury Department, which I believe is essential to making sure that this bill is paid for and responsible. Given how much good is in there, like reinstating the state and local tax deduction with lower taxes and helping with child care and pre-K and fighting climate change. And the president really was just, there were issues we were trying to work through and make it clear to our colleagues that we need that information to move forward, to do the responsible thing. But that immediately we had to vote on the bipartisan infrastructure plan, which, as you know, Dan, has been sitting in the House waiting for action since early August. And you're talking about 2 million jobs a year on the line, and we want to get those shovels into the ground. So to me, it was, he really helped bridge some of the divides, and we were able to move forward and get that vote done, and we're going to get it to the president's desk now.
Next up, they spoke a lot more on the Build Back Better bill. First, he was asked about Bernie Sanders' timeline to passing the bill during the week of November 15th.
So let's look ahead. All eyes are now on that $1.75 trillion package, new social safety net programs, climate provisions. Here's what Senator Bernie Sanders said on Twitter about the timeline for passing the social safety net bill. He said, conservative House Democrats committed to voting for the Build Back Better Act no later than the week of November 15th. Their constituents are watching. They must keep that promise. No excuses. Every Democrat must vote to address the needs of working families and climate change. What's your response? Is it going to pass the House the week of November 15th?
So in our statement, we made it very clear, and what we committed to was that we believe the information will be back on that week from the Congressional Budget Office, more of the data to ensure that this bill is paid for and does the responsible thing fiscally. And we plan to move forward because it's going to meet our expectations, I'm sure. But, again, what's most important, and I'd say to Senator Sanders and to everyone, is that this bill is fiscally responsible and paid for. These investments are key for our country and for our future. I talk about for my district how important it is to reinstate SALT and get tax relief for middle-class families. There's so much in there that matters. So I think we should all celebrate for the country this vote, and of course look optimistic about moving forward here.
I just want to be clear on what you're saying. Are you saying if the Congressional Budget Office says it is paid for, you wanted to say it's paid for, but what your statement said is that if it is, quote, inconsistent with the White House analysis, meaning it's not paid for, adds to the deficit, that you're going to keep working. So does that mean you would be a no if that's what the CBO says?
What we understand, we received a slew of data this past week from the Treasury Department and from the White House and some early Congressional Budget Office analysis. We were expecting to receive more in the next 7 to 10 days. We expect it all to match up with what was presented, and we'll move forward.
Okay.
I don't. That is what I believe will happen. And again, Dan, I think we all agree that the reconciliation package, the Build Back Better legislation, is critically important for our districts like mine. So my expectation will be that we will be moving forward, and we will have another thing to celebrate action, which is that are really important for the country. They want to see us moving forward for them and fighting for them.
Let me ask you
that's what I expect will happen.
Let me ask you the flip side of that, and just directly, do you need the Congressional Budget Office to say that the bill is paid for in order to vote yes?
What we're looking for are CBO tables, which score sections of the bill, which we will be receiving. And we already have some data, so we expect the information we receive to be in line with what we received from the Treasury Department. And we'll, at that point, I'm sure, be ready to move forward. But we just want to make sure we get that data and that we're able to align it with what we had received already. Listen, I think what's most important for people to understand is the responsible thing to do when you get a piece of legislation like this is to do a full analysis and to understand the impact on your district and the families in your district. And that's what I'm looking at, to make sure that when we vote for this and give the country this win, that we deliver the way we should deliver. And
so again, just like in his joint statement, as long as the CBO score comes back to show that the bill will be fully paid for, he will vote during that week. If not, then things could change. Gottheimer's expectation, though, is that the CBO score will match up with expectations and that they will be able to move forward. One of the issues Democrats are still debating on is whether or not to reinstate SALT. This is the state and local tax deduction, which allows taxpayers to be able to deduct local tax payments on their federal tax returns. This means that some really wealthy people in high tax states such as California can then deduct a lot of the tax they're already paying in their state and pay less in federal taxes. Here is Gottheimer's views on whether or not SALT should be reinstated.
Let's talk about reinstating SALT. Progressives are opposed to the details of your plan, and SALT, of course, stands for state and local tax deductions, which were taken out in the Trump tax cut. They say that it is beyond acceptable that the top 1% could actually get effectively a tax cut from this bill. Are you confident that what you are going for, which would allow wealthier Americans to have their tax deduction on a state and local level, will be included?
Well, first of all, in my district in Bergen County, New Jersey, where the median property tax is over $15,000, and a law enforcement officer and a teacher together are making $200,000, and their taxes went up in 2017 when the state and local tax deduction was gutted by the red states. For them, this is for working class and hardworking families, middle class families in my district. This will equal a tax cut for them because their taxes went up. So this is really about making sure we make life more affordable for them. You know, I get it. For Bernie Sanders, if you're in Vermont, it's a different situation, right? The property taxes, I think, median property taxes are $4,000, not $15,000, right? And the median income is not $100,000; it's $40,000. So I understand it's a different place, but if you're in New Jersey, in northern New Jersey, where things are more expensive, this is a middle class issue. It's about tax relief for them, and that's why it's got to happen. And we've been working very closely with Senator Schumer and with Congressman Suozzi and Sherrill and Pascrell and others to get this across the finish line, because where we live, taxes went up, not down in 2017. So we've got to make life more affordable for them.
So definitely a lot to debate on between centrist and progressive Democrats as far as this reconciliation package goes. And once the House ends up passing the Build Back Better bill the week of November 15th, which I am pretty confident they will, the bill will then head off to the Senate, where again, they'll have a lot of work to do. Before the bill is even voted on, the Senate parliamentarian will first need to decide which measures of the bill can stay in and which measures need to be removed. If they don't meet the test of the Byrd rule, they will need to be removed from the bill. Once that's figured out, we'll see the bill debated on further by progressive Democrats such as Bernie Sanders and moderates such as Joe Manchin. The reconciliation package at the moment costs around $1.75 trillion. By the time Manchin and Sinema are done debating on the bill with progressives, the bill may then come down closer to the $1.5 trillion mark, if not lower. Since the moderate Democrats already have their infrastructure bill passed, progressive Democrats don't really hold too much power in negotiations. At this point, they almost have to go with the approach of something is always better than nothing at all. So, in my eyes at least, I expect this reconciliation package to plummet even more in the overall price tag, but in the end, it should be a win for both sides of the Democratic Party. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Again, if you would like to receive a couple of free stocks from Webull, make sure to quickly claim them by clicking my link in the description box below. To receive the first stock, you will need to fully open an account. Then, to receive the second free stock, which will be valued up to $2,000, you'll need to make a qualifying deposit of at least $5. And even if you aren't all that interested in investing or continuing to invest at this point in time, you can always sell the free stocks you receive and transfer that money, however much they're worth, right back to your bank account. So free stocks or free money is completely up to you. So once again, I hope everyone has a great and safe rest of their day. If you did enjoy the content in today's video and you found it helpful in whatever way, I would greatly appreciate if you would give this video a big thumbs up. That does help out with the YouTube algorithm. And until next time, as always, I'll see you in the next video.